Hey guys, welcome to another video. This video is a series review for Star Wars Obi Wan Kenobi, and today I am joined by the wonderful Sharif and our good old pal Mark Grodd Watson.
Hey
How's
everyone.
everyone going?
Good. Have you guys?
Yeah,
Pretty
good. Yeah, getting through the week and excited to discuss this Star Wars content. Always good to discuss this.
Now, if you
Oh
enjoy our
man.
content, be sure to like the video, subscribe, and comment. Let us know in the background what you think about everything. If you've got any constructive criticism, let us know. Now, Star Wars Obi Wan. What did you guys think of this, Sharif?
It was a slow burn in the beginning. But I'm a patient man. I'm willing to wait through for the payoff at the end, and man, the payoff was good.
Mark?
Yeah, I liked it. I agree with Sharif. Like the first couple of episodes were a bit, didn't almost need them, but I looked the nostalgia part of thing of Darth Vader coming in and stuff like that. I'm a real sucker for that sort of stuff. So that really excited me. But I think mainly before the nostalgia part, I don't think the storyline was that crash hot. But um, honestly, apart from Obi-Wan and Darth Vader, the characters weren't that interesting. But yeah, I'm still excited to see this sort of world in another version. And it was really cool. They got James Earl Jones as the voice again. So
I heard that for his voice in the series, they fed lines from James Earl Jones to an AI. And that is how the voice was done for this series.
Awesome. So what do you think, Ryan?
Well, let me give you a bit of an anecdote here. Prequel era Star Wars is what I was raised on. I remember one of the first movies I saw at the cinemas was Revenge of the Sith. I came home with my dad, said to my mum after she asked how the movie was, it was awesome. Darth Vader's face burnt off. So I have a loving affection for the prequels, except Attack of the Clones.
Yep.
So what I do have to say though is ultimately I did not enjoy Star Wars Obi-Wan. I just thought it was a bit too average to be Obi-Wan's show. Like we waited all this time to get Ewan McGregor back as Obi-Wan and see him take on that iconic role only to get this steaming pile of shit. Now, I think the best way to break this up is we'll talk about it character by character, I suppose. So we'll start off talking about the character of Obi-Wan and the journey he goes on throughout the series. So I'll kick it off. So I thought that his arc was just a bit of a mess throughout the series. It was a cool idea that they had for him, but it was poor execution.
Yeah.
Seeing this broken man going to be this awesome warrior again, it should have been done a lot better, especially since they remade A New Hope essentially for a third time.
Right.
I guess I can see where you're coming from. Maybe if they, I don't know, if they had gone more than 6 episodes, would that have given them more time? I don't know, to flesh things out a little bit more.
I don't know that the 6-episode length is the problem. I think that's how they used it. Because if you look at something like, let's say, The Boys, so they the amount of character development you get in one episode of The Boys, you got over an entire series in Obi-Wan.
Yeah, no, I understand where you're coming from too. And I honestly thought Obi-Wan's sort of chemistry with Leia it didn't seem genuine, even towards the end. I don't know what look, I guess you had to look at him as a failure and stuff like that, but even when you try to look at Obi-Wan as a failure, like he was at the start of it, you don't really believe it. Yeah, you're right, though. It is a waste of Ewan McGregor to start with, and the character Obi-Wan. Look, I grew up in the opposite to you, Ryan. I grew up in the older ones. I was only allowed to stay. I remember when I was a kid, I was only allowed to stay up and watch, I think, 3 lots of movies. I was always allowed to stay up and watch Star Wars, Star Trek, and Superman. So, of all things. So, this is back in the 80s. So, those sort of, well, especially Trek and Star Wars have that nostalgia sort of feeling to it. But yeah, for some reason, until Ewan McGregor took over, I wasn't a fan of Obi Wan Kenobi as a character. Even when Ewan McGregor had the spotlight, I was sort of more interested in other characters. So I guess this has a different feeling to me, and yeah, I don't know.
One very interesting thing I did find in this series, which kind of just destroyed the character of Obi-Wan for me. It was like, are you kidding me? Why would you do that? That you're not allowed to do that. End of the series, Obi-Wan's talking to Owen, and then he essentially says, "It's not my problem to protect Luke Skywalker anymore. That's on you and Baru. That's on you two." Which completely flies in the face of anything that has been pre-established previously. Like Darth Maul when he rocks up on Tatooine in Star Wars Rebels Season 3, Episode 19, Twin Sons. Wait, Twin Sons? Yeah, Twin Sons. So that episode, he rocks up on Tatooine, he finds Obi-Wan, he deduces very quickly Obi-Wan's protecting Luke, and then Kenobi just kills the bastard.
Yeah.
For someone who doesn't track all the Clone Wars saga animated series, my connection was just 10 years jump from episode 3, and I thought, as a casual Star Wars viewer, I thought this is a curious premise. I want to know. I want to find out. So what's happened with Obi-Wan for the past 9 years, and to see him start off as seeing himself as a failure. I mean, 10 years didn't happen. His characterization just continued on off from episode 3.
Yeah,
I really do like the idea that he views himself as a failure and then just eventually comes out of it. But it's all in the execution.
Yeah, and it's I think I also think that sort of did ruin the suspense, especially at the end fight, is you know what happens. You know they both survive, so you know it's not going to be a fight to the death, even though there was an opportunity. So that sort of ruined it. You go, you know what's going to happen. I even forget her name. You know she's not going to kill Luke because Luke's in the New Hope. So none of that took out so much suspense. So
one thing I did think would happen, but actually didn't, which I thought would have been pretty fan servicey, but they didn't do it. When he opened up the chest with the 2 lightsabers, so his and Anakin's, I thought he took both, and then at some point he'd use both of those lightsabers to fight Darth Vader. Yeah.
No.
But Mark, you had a
Hmm?
pretty good segue there. On to the next character, Darth Vader.
Yeah. But it was cool to see, I guess, back in the 70s and 80s, like he had this big suit, so it would have been hard to maneuver around. It was good to see him in that final fight actually have some moves rather than seem like a robotic. Like, and I thought it was a really cool fight scene. I heard Hayden Christensen was mostly in the suit throughout the whole series. That's pretty cool that he actually did in the suit. Is that true or?
I don't actually know. I know that he was in it a bit.
Yeah, well, people
Like,
in the comments might be fresh on us, but yeah.
like, there's one really cool scene in the series which I really like, where he is obviously in the suit when after Kenobi slices the helmet open, and then he gets that little peek of Anakin, and then Anakin is just slowly reabsorbed by Vader and his hatred.
That was really cool scene, and the whole robotic two voices sound, and you can hear Hayden Christensen's voice in there, but it's sort of robotic. That looked like I really like that bit. Or maybe that's what makes me enjoy this, just because I got that bit at the end, the fight, the end bit with Darth Vader, because that Darth Vader was the villain. You know, when I grew up, he was the villain. Like you compared him to everybody. You go, he's not on Darth Vader's level or stuff like that. He was the villain of villains. So yeah, it was
Darth
cool.
Vader still is the villain of villains.
100% agree. So there's not a bigger presence on the screen. So to see it and to see it in full action, I mean, like, I remember watching Rogue One, that end scene. I fell off my seat.
Darth Vader, when he is on screen, he should always seem like an unstoppable force, where you just watch him tear through whatever is in front of him.
Yeah.
And the thing I really like about Vader, which is really interesting, the robotic nature of how he moves, especially in combat. How, because of his cybernetics, he's a little more stiff, so he has to put that little bit of extra oomph into each of his attacks to ensure that he wins.
That's why I felt I was a bit surprised in the last saber fight. I had to I kind of rewatched a little bit of episode 4 when they met for the last time, and you're right. His movements were not really fluid, but that's because it's done in its time. Uh, but this is modern. This is now. Obviously they've made um, uh, you know advances in the suit so that he can move more fluidly. But if you were to look at it in the timeline, is his movement in episode 4 were because he's just worn out?
Yeah, and like he is severely burnt all over the body, isn't he? I mean, like, it's got to take your toll on your movements whatsoever. So yeah,
Around the time of Rogue One, he gets new cybernetics.
okay,
He's got new prosthetics, and that's why he's so sluggish
right,
in A
yeah,
New Hope.
yeah.
But I did find one really interesting parallel, I suppose. Well, that entire Vader sequence in the last episode's got a lot of them. Like when Obi-Wan is calling back to the door on Mustafar saying, I will do what I must. And then Vader calls back to something that happens further in the timeline when he duels Ahsoka and says, then you will die. And Obi-Wan slicing Vader's helmet, he slices one side. When Ahsoka fights Vader in Rebels, she slices the other side, and then Luke is the only person who manages to take off the whole
Yeah, it's because Luke is best. Yeah.
But what did you think of that first duel between Obi-Wan and Vader in this series?
That one was a bit disappointing, to be honest.
Yep, agreed. That one was quite disappointing. I feel like the village sequence, that felt like pure Vader, just being
was scary.
Darth Vader.
Mm.
That was very scary. He probably terrorized a lot of 10-year-olds in that scene.
Mm.
But watching Darth Vader just be sadistic, I suppose. Not used to that and doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
Oh, we did get a glimpse of it. I'm really just a glimpse of it. When he just off the Padawans, we didn't really see the full extent of it. Just flashes of light, but then in that scene, like you said, the sadistic nature. Well, he grew into the dark side, so it's bound to take him away.
Yeah.
Speaking of, I did really enjoy that scene where he was slaughtering those 10-year-olds.
Right.
That is one of my favorite scenes in any of the series. The minute I hear Master Skywalker, there are too many of them. What are we going to do? I just perk up.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's very dark.
Moving forward from Vader along the same lines, we'll go to Reva. What did you guys think of Reva in the series?
You got that, Sharif.
Sharif?
Let me collect my thoughts. Someone else go first.
All
All
right,
right.
Mark?
We'll go first. I thought in parts good. I enjoyed her at the start. And I was disappointed towards the end. So her whole, because she couldn't kill Vader. So she decides to go after a child. Like, that's just not justice. That's just murder. That's just cold-blooded. Like,
Yep.
I keep reverting back to, I've done on a few episodes on that time in Brooklyn Nine-Nine where Jake goes, cool motive, still murder. I just don't get it. I mean, like, if she does that, she's definitely just as bad as him. Like, if not worse, she did it for the wrong reasons. He did it because he went nuts. She did it just purely for vengeance. To kill a child, it's just, yeah. I'm just going, that's kind of silly. I know she didn't do it, yay, but she still thought about it, and that's pretty bad.
She got pretty close to doing it as well.
Yeah, I'm just going, this is just silly. This is not going to prove anything. And Darth Vader doesn't know Luke exists yet. So how's that going to get back at him?
Well, all right. Reva in this series, I thought was a really cool idea for a character that they just executed very, very poorly.
100% agree.
The idea of one of the younglings that Anakin slaughtered, or one of those little bastard 10-year-olds, just being alive and having survived, that's a cool idea to have an Inquisitor that wants to just kill Vader. That's a Starkiller-esque character. Now, the idea that this character then finds out the Skywalker secret, that Luke is, well, that both Luke and Leia are, well, they're the Skywalker children. Anyone who finds out that secret in between the two trilogies has to fucking die. You do not find out that secret and stay alive, especially if you're a bad guy. You have to die. There's no other way about it. It's the most important thing in between those two movies. If anyone finds it out, bye-bye.
Yeah, I agree. But I thought she acted well. I did enjoy her
Yep,
acting.
the acting, very good. Very good acting.
I just 100% agree with you, Ryan. It's just like it was the idea was there, but it just wasn't written correctly, or they just didn't quite know where to go with it. And then, yeah, as I said, my view on her end result, just wanting to kill a child to get vengeance because she couldn't kill the actual guy. Yeah, it's just.
And we got the backstory way too late in the series as well. Episode 5 to get the backstory. Like, if they'd paced the series properly, we should have gotten that around episode 2 or 3.
Definitely would have made it more interesting, I think. But yeah, what do you think, Sharif? Have you collected your thoughts?
Yeah. Looking back, when the character was initially introduced, I thought, oh, damn, she is focused. She knows what she wants, and then towards the end, she kind of lost her resolve. She wavered a bit, but I guess, like you said, Ryan, if we had been introduced to her a little earlier, I guess it would have um, given us a more in-depth understanding, and for me personally, not see her so much as one-dimensional. I guess, yeah, and Mark, I guess I can see your point where it would have been just outright uh, murder if she were too off. Look, but then again, like we've said before, we know episode 4, they're gonna survive. Does that though then take the edge away from the fact that she wants to do it, but it's not gonna happen?
Big time, didn't it? It did because
Yeah.
you saw her going. You go, you're not going to do that. You can't do
There's
it.
no stakes.
Yeah, yeah. So at the very start of it, when you see that she sort of has like Jedi powers, it was very interesting. I felt, and I was going, "Oh, this is cool. I wonder what's going to happen out of this, or how she became so obsessed with Obi Wan." I enjoyed that thought in my mind, just going, "Oh yeah, this is interesting. I like this." And she's like Sharif said, she's extremely driven. Like it's all she thinks about is getting Obi Wan. Yeah.
I do like the idea that she pretty much essentially used the Star Wars version of Wikipedia and then just went, okay, Obi-Wan knew this one guy all these years ago. Let's kidnap his daughter and see what happens. But then, for me, that also created a huge plot hole once Obi-Wan went and tried to rescue Leia on Daiyu, wherein, okay, now the whole Empire should know, realistically, that, okay, Bail Organa knows Obi-Wan and probably knows where he's hiding.
Yeah.
Why aren't we doing anything about that?
It's very true.
Now, to move on, well, pretty good segue there. Let's talk about young Leia. What did you guys think of young Leia in this series? Sharif?
A little too young. But then again, seeing how her character traits, even at that age, has starting to emerge. The how she progressed in terms of her self confidence, how she sees herself as someone who can um, affect change by small actions. I guess a little difficult. Maybe just an inkling of the growth that she is bound to grow into. I guess if I was just about to say if we have like season 2, but then again they're not gonna meet after this, are they?
Yeah,
They
maybe.
shouldn't.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
I
So
did find it really interesting how they used Leia to get Obi-Wan off of Tatooine as well. Because getting Obi-Wan off of Tatooine, you're always going to have to come up with a very good reason for why he is not there protecting Luke.
yeah,
Mm.
I agree to what Sharif was saying about Leia. Look, at the very start of it, she was a bit of a brat, a bit of you can't control her or you can't tell her what to do, and she does her own thing. But I think we see, because you think, you go, that's not Leia. We know what Leia is. We've seen her. She's controlling, in power, in control. She's strong. But the best thing about this TV show, you get to see her progressing. This is her turning point. This event is her turning point where she slowly turns into the Leia that we know and love. Because if she just stayed this brat, she's not going to help anybody in the future. So you can see Obi-Wan sacrifice so much for her, or just all these other people sacrifice so much for her. She realized what the good fight actually is. And you see her progress in attitude. She's all in by the end. She wants to save people. She wants to help people. And I think this is very important for her development, because at the start it was a bit annoying, but as we said, it was a great turning point in her character building. So young too, but yeah, I thought this is the most building a character had in this show.
She definitely got the best paced character development in the show, where you could just see it gradually build from episode to episode. She just became less of a brat slowly, and you just watched the qualities of her mother and father, the good qualities at least, show through. One of my favorite scenes in this series is actually Obi-Wan and Leia just talking at the very end of the series, and it's just him telling her about Anakin and Padme. So like, you got these good qualities from both of them.
Yeah. That was a really heartfelt scene, I feel. Not giving too much away of who her parents are, but just to find out that she was the product of the combination of these two big characters.
Yeah. I thought it was an interesting development, but yeah.
What did you guys think of the Grand Inquisitor in this series? Or as I like to call him, Big Bald Potato Sackhead.
Biggest bootlicker ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That sister
What about you, Mark?
has bigger balls.
Yeah. Look, he looked creepy enough, but yeah, not much else, was it? He was he's just a foot soldier, wasn't he?
All right. Here's what I have to say about the Grand Inquisitor. So this character was one of the first characters created when Disney got Star Wars. So the first thing they put out was Star Wars Rebels. And he's the villain in season 1, and they fucking neutered him in Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
So he was that much bigger in Rebels?
Yeah, he was a threatening character. Like, he'd be fighting a Jedi, and then he'd just be psychoanalyzing them as they're fighting. He was actually intimidating. He chopped people's heads off.
Yeah, he wasn't intimidating at all. Yeah, no, that's a bit disappointing then, because yeah,
he was so scared of Darth Vader that he'd rather die than have to admit that he failed.
Yeah, I can't find it to be appointed in that position, and you are so cowardly. Yes.
Like,
Not befitting of his position, I feel.
yeah, like it would be the most stressful position going around being under Darth Vader, wouldn't it? Because you just knew you're one failure away from death. yeah, and quite easily too. Yeah.
Now, I'm curious what you guys thought about some of the more fan servicey moments in this show. Like at the very end, when we saw the Force Ghost of Qui-Gon Jinn. The first time Liam Neeson has gotten to play this character in live action since 1999.
To be honest, I squealed. I just went, hello! To to have it referenced once or twice in the series and have it like a cliffhanger towards episode 3. I felt it was a good payoff. It's a long time coming. I I think the writers know what audiences are expecting, and I think that bit paid off.
Yeah, they're definitely reaching for some sort of nostalgia there, aren't they? Because yeah, our first thought was, I was thinking, why is Ra's al Ghul there?
But
yeah,
then he hasn't aged. But ghosts don't anyway. So
Liam Neeson looks pretty good for 70.
yeah,
yeah, he
he's
does.
ageless. He's ageless. But yeah, it was cool. It was cool, and he's old master. Great moment.
I thought
And
it was pretty. I thought it was pretty cool as well. And then I went, wait a minute. In the Clone Wars, they explain that he can't materialize as a Force Ghost,
oh,
so he should only be able to hear his voice. And then I looked into it a bit more, and then they went, oh no, in a novel they explained, oh yeah, he did more training after death and figured out how to do it.
More
oh,
training after death.
Yep.
just the pure excuse of making shit up, isn't it?
Yep.
So, all right. So, question then is: did he self-train, or was he trained by
So
some other Force ghost?
Yeah, I'm very
So,
interested in this. How did
okay.
it go down?
Okay, so the process to become a Force Ghost, pretty much, you go visit these, I think they're called the Wills of the Force, and they will train you in how to materialize after death. Qui-Gon didn't finish the training when he was alive because unfortunately he got stabbed and died.
right.
So he only got the bare basics of the training to where he couldn't materialize, but he could project his voice. And then somehow after death, he just figured out how to train and figure it out. It took him about 10 years.
Definitely sounds legit.
And I find it interesting towards the end when he said to Obi-Wan that he was always there, but it's just that Ben wasn't ready. So it's curious at what point or what happened to Obi-Wan that made him ready.
What made him ready? I would say it was dealing with the baggage of Anakin, just coming to accept that Obi-Wan failed as a teacher and move forward with his life.
Yeah, he needed closure, didn't he? He needed to close that chapter.
Was it due to the responsibility that Qui-Gon bequeathed on to Obi-Wan? You take care of him.
Yeah, I trained the biggest mass murderer, sort of thing.
I do think there could have been a really interesting, well, there still could be a really interesting scene of just Obi-Wan talking to Qui-Gon about the failure of Anakin and about how Qui-Gon entrusted the training of this kid to Obi-Wan, and then he failed Anakin and he went on to slaughter 10-year-olds.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, I might have to rewatch him. It wasn't really Obi-Wan that failed him. It was just,
It was a combination of things.
Damn
Like
Palpatine.
they warned him
So,
too,
yeah.
that he had the darkness inside him.
Well, to be fair, they were warned about Anakin, but they knew better than the council. So
Great danger I sense in his training. But now, a word from our sponsor.
This show is sponsored by the Comx shop. Check out comx.cx for all things Comx and find out what Comx is all about. Then head over to comx.shop to pick up a variety of Australian comics from multiple creators and publishers, all for one flat postage rate. We hope you enjoy the show.
Did you hear that right? One flat postage rate. Buy one comic, buy 70 comics, buy 100, you pay one flat rate. And if you're like Sharif, who buys a lot of comics to just put them in nice hardcovers, this deal works out for you. Now, I was wondering, with this series, what did you think of the path that they invented? Just the idea of the path.
I'm still a bit confused of which path they're going. They obviously did leave open a few things, but yeah, I don't know. Like they can use so many different avenues here. It's confusing.
Sorry, did I miss something? Path? What path?
So the path is like, that's what they were calling the group who were like smuggling Jedi and stuff.
Oh, okay.
That one.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, what was the question?
What did you think of them? Do you think they were underutilized? Do you think maybe they could have done a bit more?
I don't know. Maybe it was just a tool, a throwaway tool that they used to explain how Jedi's got away. It could have been just okay. That.
Yeah.
It was their excuse to throw in a bunch of Easter eggs in the background. And a lot of those characters that they introduce with it, you can't even tell me their names.
Yeah. Especially if it's a clandestine group that works in the shadows. If you're discovered, that's it. End of the road. So there has to be some secrets to be kept.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they could definitely expand on it a bit more, but yeah, I was a little bit confused of the use of it. But yeah.
What did you think? Did you guys fanboy a little bit as well when we saw Darth Vader's castle?
Yes.
Ominous, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was.
Big
It was.
So
it was
cool.
Big, dark. I guess it's befitting though. But then does the design of the castle kind of reflect who he is, who he's become?
I do like that the castle is overlooking where he actually became Darth Vader as well. Like, it's just such a cool idea and a brooding Darth Vader thing to have, where this character is just overlooking at all times, where he became Darth Vader and just fueling his anger with it.
Yeah, good point. That's it's like motivation for him, isn't it?
Yeah.
to keep on track. One thing I
And
did think that this was missing, and I love from all the originals, old ones, is like flight chases between like speed stars and like shooting in space action and going driving and them chasing them, and that's the stuff I used to love.
Hmm.
But yeah, that was missing for me. So in this, and probably the last couple of like, it wasn't in Boba Fett really. It's in a little bit of Mandalorian. He has a few space chases. But yeah, that's one thing that keeps missing for me, because that's why, like in the new ones, as flawed as they are, I really like the character Poe, because he's a fighter pilot and he's cool, and I just want to see him just chase down people and do fighter pilot stuff. That's what I like best about Star Wars.
it's a cool angle that they haven't taken very much of in any facet of Star Wars in live action.
Because that's why, like, Han Solo was pretty popular too. Like, not the movie Han Solo, but the character. He was an awesome pilot. Everybody wanted to be Han Solo in the 80s. So no one wanted to be Luke.
Everyone wants to be Han Solo because he's just so cool. He's unpredictable. He's the guy who walks into the bar and sits down and has a drink with his buddy Greedo and then shoots him.
Like, how's that not cool?
Yeah. Those space battle scenes. Miss them, and if not for for the very least, the fact that it just looks cool. You may shoot into space and not hit anything, but just to see the buses just fly.
Yeah, Morons, you're space invaders.
Last thing I'm going to bring up with this, I do think they came up with a good reason for why Darth Vader just isn't actively hunting Kenobi after the series is done.
Okay, this series.
Yes, this series. Because Palpatine is just like, no, let that go.
Let it fester in you.
You're too focused on this. It's making you bad at your job. Just quit it.
Yeah, it seems hard to convince Anakin to stop it, because we haven't seen that before, the restraint of Anakin. But yeah, I don't know. What's your theory?
But again, he does listen to the Emperor.
Yeah.
So I guess Ryan has a point there. If he was directed to not pursue this any further, I guess he'll do it. It's only towards the end where he finally, well, I'm talking about episode 6 now, that he realizes that he has to stand on his own and be his own man.
Yeah. It's I guess it's like they have a bigger picture, and he needs to focus on that picture. And if they achieve their goal, bigger picture wise, Obi-Wan's got to suffer anyway. If they destroy everything with the Death Star,
and we need this character to survive for about 7 more years.
Yeah, if he keeps going battle to battle with Obi, he's eventually probably going to die. Until Obi gets old.
All right. Any closing thoughts that you'd like to just get out there about the series?
I enjoyed seeing Ewan McGregor back as Obi Wan. I can't. Yeah, I thought it was really good, and yeah, I'm just saying, I just love Darth Vader. I want more Darth Vader stuff, but I don't want them to overkill it because
And be like Batman. It's too much of a good thing.
Batman and Joker and stuff like that. Yeah.
If you want pure Darth Vader, read the Charles Soule Darth Vader run.
Yes, I actually do want to pick that up. Yeah.
Yeah. Got it on my shelf. I gotta start reading it. But regarding the series, if anyone who's watching has not watched it, be patient, plow through it, and yeah, the series ended on a high note. Just be
Yeah.
patient. Yeah.
Flawed but interesting, sometimes a bit questionable, sometimes looking a bit cheap, but ultimately there was some good things about it.
That's right. Yeah, excellent. Yeah, I'm always up for more Star Wars content, whether good or bad. Bring it on.
I don't know if there's a point where it'll get too bad to where I will just stop watching it.
Nah, never.
I hate watch it.
I still watch Star Trek to this day, and it's not that great at the moment.
Now, I'd like to thank everyone for watching this video. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know in the comments your thoughts on Obi-Wan. And if you'd like to see more Star Wars content, let us know. This is Ryan, Sharif, and Mark from AussieVerse. We're out.